Hello everyone and welcome to today's developer live stream. I'm here with Nathan Mooney, Cameron Winston, Jawan Peterson, and we are opening up for the launch of the Revenant stream today. So basically Revenant comes out tomorrow morning. People will get to play him, the first ranged carry of 2017.
Yes.
This is a good time.
It is it's always a good time.
It's a good time to be alive. Oh yeah,
it's a great time to be alive.
I mean, Cameron, we're now becoming like a regular trio.
We go way back.
Way back.
Way back.
Way back to the Fortnite days.
Yeah, dude. Those from Tejas.
Yeah. So today we're going to run through a number of awesome things. We have Zach Foreman, Kevin Lanning going to talk through art and modeling, Aaron Carlisle.
I did it. I got it.
And Frederick Seehusen are going to run through animation and effects. And then we have Marco Neller, who is our community guest. And we got some hot fire to show you guys today with Marco. It's going to be a very, very good time today on the stream. So stick around, stay tuned for lots more for the duration of this stream. Now, before we get started, I'm going to run through some community updates. Let me give a shout out to PCL for running their 7th NA event this past weekend, and Reborn coming through with another dub.
Yep.
I was there for most of the stream, watched that. So good stuff there. Notch and Geronimo Jack casted the first or the Sunday semis and the final. So it was a good time. So shout out to those guys. And as you guys know, last week we celebrated Community Week. So we had Nabori out, we had Fizzer, we were RGS Ace and Sylphin and
some of those videos.
Beanhead.
Yeah, Beanhead made some videos.
They made
for
some
us,
videos throughout the week. Just awesome stuff from everybody in the community. Really appreciate it. So let's talk about the changes coming to 39.3. The release notes should be live. If you're watching now and you haven't seen the release notes on the website, some major highlights. The theme selector, music selector. This is
is a great
I got to
one.
tell a story about this. So we're in Leeds, and I Kevin is, I don't remember if Kevin was in there, but we're in Leeds. Me and Cameron, you were in there, and we saw that the music selector was in the upcoming changes, and so I was like, oh my God, this is like the best thing ever. And literally Amanda was like, yep, this is the best patch just because of the music selector.
Yep.
That's
straight up.
That's a true story.
Matt is a hero.
Yes.
He's a hero to his people. He's a hero to everyone. I am like, because I've been asking for this feature forever, right? Like, but it's just been one of the things that, like, getting the actual time to get it into the game and getting it scheduled and stuff like that, right? But like, we have some heroic game developers who were willing to suffer for their people, and I really appreciate Matt's work. I'm not gonna throw you under the bus, Matt, by using your last name, but if you're watching, thank you, Matt. You're a hero to everyone. So we have music sliders, and I couldn't be more thrilled because now everyone gets the music of their dreams
that they want, right?
That
you wanted the OG. Early
access. The OG
Exactly.
music too. You could get like come back in time to December 2015.
Yes.
Listen to some menu music.
Yes, you can listen to the open beta music, or you can listen to the new music that we have.
I even made a list. Cam had walked in the room, and we were talking about like the different stuff, and the music collector made a list and then crossed it off. It's just like we did it.
We did it.
We did
Mission
it.
accomplished.
On the whiteboard, off the whiteboard.
off.
So that is a thing. Now for the meat of the balance changes kind of going in, we had some changes to the prime buff on the cards. So first one is we've reduced the health regeneration and mana regen to 1.5% from 3%. We've reduced the aura minion bonus health to 25% from 50%. And we reduced the prime buff duration from to 120 seconds from 150 seconds. And last but not least, we've removed death touch from the minions, and we have the reasoning all in the patch notes, but more or less it was a little bit more effective than what we were in planning. We still want the objective to be a siege objective, so if you grab the orb prime, we want you to be pushing lanes and trying to make a play, but we don't want it to be so effective that it just ends the game. That is not the intent.
Just one of the key things to take away is, and how we will always be evaluating this, just so everyone knows, we want objectives to be meaningful. We want them to be impactful. We don't want them to be the game, right? Like, so obviously we're going to make mistakes. We tuned it too far. We made the change originally because people weren't doing Raptors in Prime, so we wanted them to be relevant, and we made them far too relevant, so now we're toning it back.
Yep.
Simple as that.
You guys will also notice that we've slightly reduced the respawn delay per hero to 5.2 seconds from 5.8 seconds. This is kind of a result of some of the sieging mechanics that are now in with the prime card buffs. It was previously 90 seconds at max level. Now it's 81 seconds. So that shaves some time off. But if you die, you're still going to get punished. I mean, you made a mistake. Gotta live with it.
The long death timers were just a function of like you need to make sure that you can have a long enough death that the team that actually kills you at the end of the game
is able to capitalize
on that. But also like it doesn't. Does it? I mean, how long is long, right? Like you know, you want it to be as short as possible while still being long.
Yep.
So we're iterating to find that value.
And then lastly, I want to say this went in mostly because of some of what we've observed with Revenant. Joanne, you probably can speak to this a little bit more, but we've added a minimum duration to the move speed penalty when attacking. And it's my understanding this addresses an issue where building attack speed was sort of bypassing the move speed penalty. And to my knowledge, it was most apparent on Revenant coming in, and that's why we were like, oh, wait, this is actually an issue.
Yeah, when you start building a lot of attack speed, you start to notice that you're not being slowed very well, and then Revenant, he shoots very fast, so he was not being slow, he was just chasing everyone down.
Yep. So that is another change that's gone in. Again, it's all in the release notes for this. And then last but not least, we have the Rogue skin, Sparrow Rogue skin, and let's go ahead and throw that trailer on because it is hot fire.
As opposed to cold fire.
Now, Sparrow will be the first Rogue skin coming back with this update that'll be out. And then we'll have Kalari coming out in 39.4. And I believe there will also be a bundle so that if you already own the Sparrow Rogue skin, you can get the Kalari Rogue skin at a discount. Or you can just outright buy the bundle if you want to wait. So Kalari Rogue skin will be in 39.4. 39.5, and I've seen some folks talking about this for a while. We actually showed it off in the
roadmap
blog,
yeah,
2017. So. Feng Mao Royal Guard is going to be hitting the build in 39.5, barring nothing. We don't see any bugs,
right.
But that is the scheduled time for that. And then the big change, 40 coming in, major update to balance. It's a very big update. New hero in 40. You're going to see lots of hero changes with a couple of tweaks and possibly some reworks. More card changes than in 38.3 and some additional card reworks. So you'll see some tweaks on numbers and values, and then you'll also see the card reworks in there. It is the target date for our monthly Mega Vault, which is that little coming soon bit of UI on the front end. And then it is a target date for a brand new Tier 3 skin. Again, barring no bugs, and I've been playing a specific hero. You guys know I've been playing a specific hero lately because I just want to rock that skin because it's yeah, it's mint. So with that being said, we want to hop into the Revenant overview video, and then we're going to talk the design and general gameplay with Cameron and Juwan. So we will be right back.
Revenant is an unholy melding of malevolent spirit and vicious bounty hunter. On ability carry, Revenant relies on isolating targets and collecting bounties in order to snowball past the enemy carry. Focus on buying cards that increase your power, so your abilities will deal more damage. Revenant carries a revolver with 4 rounds. Upon consuming these rounds, he will automatically reload. Hellfire rounds allows you to reload your weapon at any time, and comes with a passive component, dealing bonus damage on your 4th shot. Scar will infuse your target with dark energy, allowing you to deal bonus damage to your enemy. Scar has great synergy, not just with your basic attacks, but also with Obliterate. Obliterate will fire out a volley of projectiles that randomly target enemies in front of Revenant. When using Obliterate, try to isolate your enemy so more of your projectiles hit a single target. And finally, your ultimate is Reckoning. Revenant transports himself and a portion of his target's essence into the Netherrealm, where he and his target must duel. While in the Netherrealm, no one can see Revenant except his prey, and neither of them can damage or target anyone else except each other. If Revenant can kill his target before they leave the Netherrealm, he will collect his bounty, earning bonus card power. Revenant relies on Reckoning to collect bounties and come online sooner than other carries. Building pure power will make your abilities deal more damage, allowing you to nuke down high-value targets. When engaging enemies, always be mindful of your cooldowns and how many rounds you have in the chamber. Even one small miscalculation could cost you your bounty. Terrify your enemies, isolate your target, and collect your bounty as Revenant.
All right, so that was the overview video of Revenant. Now I am foaming at the mouth. You can't see it right
Drooling
now.
at the mouth.
I can't see it. It's clear foam.
It's
Clear foam.
But I think a lot of folks in the community are anxious to play Revenant. What was it kind of like from start to finish on designing the hero concept and then obviously testing the game? So I'll start with you, Cameron.
So Revenant's designed to be an ability carry. Like he's a burst carry. So like kind of like we have a lot of like farming carries in our game. Like Seraph is an example of like the ultimate farming carry, but we have like, even Twin Blast Murdoch, Grim EXE are all farming carries. Like, so Revenant's kind of more of an active carry. He's kind of like the kind of carry that like there's an argument to be made. Like you could run this guy in the mid and it would be kind of like a greedy mid.
Right.
You could, but he's also just really great in the safe lane because he needs farm. But because of his ultimate, like he's meant to be active and participating in the game earlier than in like 30 minutes into the game. He definitely scales off card power. He's 100% a carry, but he's kind of more expected to be active in the game, rotating for kills, participating in team fights. Like he's got a lot of assassin-y kind of focused stuff. So he's big on isolation, and all of his kit is kind of like focused on isolation and the concept of dueling. He kind of started like, this wasn't a hero that it was like, all right, we want to make an ability carry. Yeah. Remember we talked about this in the community corner, right?
Yeah.
Like sometimes so in this case it was like we had this incredibly strong visual of this like Western guy. And one of the things we started to push at, like let's push him more on like kind of like he's not a guy, he's like a creature in a guy suit, you know. And then so it's like, and then we're like, well, what kind of gameplay should this guy is awesome, and obviously dueling is like a big kind of thing. So thematically wanted to push him in that area, and then we just sort of said this guy would be a really good fit for the ability carry. So a lot of times like we knew we wanted to carry like this in the game. And he just sort of like, it probably should be this guy. And so we moved it from there. And then once we got the art starting to come online, just, he's really fun to play. And then we got the shooting. We wanted him, because he's the first shooting guy we've had in a while, we wanted to make sure the shooting felt really good.
Awesome. Oh my God.
And so Adam Bellefield, the hero designer for this, did a fantastic job in both just, there's a lot of tremendous technical challenges that he was able to achieve, and also the reloading was completely something he brought to the table. For like, I think this will be really good for the hero, and it turned out to be fantastic. Like, so plays really well.
I have a little comment on this, just because it does feel so good, and I'm gonna just put this out there. We are working on making shooting feel better overall in the game, but my first time playing, I went in solo versus AI, and obviously I'm a huge UT guy, loved Gears. When I was hitting reload, because it felt so good, my mind went automatically to, let me press R to reload instead of the right mouse click. And so I kept doing it. Like, it feels that good. So Adam, awesome job. Awesome job. It feels
well,
really
he's
good.
A legend. We all know it.
Yeah, no, it's true.
So one of the things, I think the biggest question I have, just from a design standpoint, is his ultimate. I got to know what came first. Was it the bounty collection, or taking you into the Nether Realm?
So the ultimate was the bounty collection is just a little like he's a bounty hunter, kind of thing. Like that wasn't like that wasn't a it wasn't like oh man, we're gonna make this bounty ultimate.
Right.
Like the whole idea of it is he's an isolation hero. He's meant to isolate. So the dream was the original design of the hero was he would actually take you to like a version of Agora where you would not be able to like it would just be the two of you. But that turned out to be too hard.
Okay.
So we had to scope it down a little bit. So this is why he kind of like, he has this kind of version of isolation. But the dream was always the ultimate reinforces the kit. So hero design wise, right? You always want to have a kit. And then remember the two circles thing?
Yep.
The circle of the ultimate is all of the kit is enabled by the ultimate. But you can still do all of your work without the ultimate. It's just that you have to create those situations. So Revenant, I expect, he's more of a MOBA player's carry because he's going to be more positioning focused. He's going to be more, how do you rotate? How do you move around the map? Is going to be huge with Revenant. But he's also typical Paragon carry in the fact that if you miss those shots, you're going to do a lot less damage.
Right.
Well, it's going back to some of the stuff you talked about, like on the corner with the positional advantage versus the like mechanical.
Yeah.
Yep. So from a gameplay standpoint, Juwan, what type of play style have you guys kind of transferred over in comp whenever you've used Revenant in game? Have you been playing him in mid lane? Have you been going in safe lane? And what type of team compositions have really proved to be viable for you guys when you're testing him?
There's some people that will take a mid. He's definitely viable if you know how to stay safe. I can say that. Carry is where he is most of the time.
Okay.
We try to make comps around him being able to lock down targets because you want to be able to keep them within range. Remember, you're still shooting a bunch of auto attacks,
yep.
and then you are getting slowed while you're doing that. So keeping him in range of your abilities and locking him down is the best thing you can do to help Revenant.
Okay.
I remember the first thing that Cam said when he came down to the room was, I want this guy to just roam around. And so we kind of roamed around a bit and see how his ganks were, and you go from being in your safe lane farming to, if you time that correctly with your, like you said, positioning and things like that, you could go to mid lane and start killing people and collecting your bounties, and then going back to your lane and farming, and you notice that you hit tab, like, oh wow, I'm pretty up there.
Right. So how focused have you guys been on making sure that you're using bounty at the right times? Because what I think a lot of people are going to end up doing initially right off the bat, and this is more of like an opportunity for you to provide some tips, but I think a lot of people are going to just automatically just take someone into bounty. Do you guys have a methodology to how you are trying to approach it, each of your bounties?
Yeah, so it's
reckoning. I'm sorry, it's reckoning.
It's a scenario. Like you have to kind of take it into thought for a second before you use your ability. You have to first realize, am I in a bad position? Am I in a bad position? Then I should probably not just, for example, use my ultimate on Sparrow, because she'll probably kill me because I'm already weak or something like that.
Right.
Maybe I should, ult the Muriel that's right next to her and kill her instead and collect my bounty and run. It all depends. But like, if you are coming into the fight late and everyone's weak, and you're about to just get paid and collect, you go in there, ult the Sparrow, kill Sparrow, wait. Once you're out of your ultimate, kill everyone else. Because they don't know where you are.
Okay.
So it kind of, you have to think about it before you act. I'm gonna say that. Think about it before you act.
Okay. Now from more on the kit, I want to ask Cameron a couple more questions. So he has Scar, which is like bonus damage.
Yep.
And then Obliterate. Now, how did those two? I know a lot of people kind of use them in tandem, at least in internal playtests. How did those two abilities kind of work their way into the kit?
So Obliterate was the first ability that he had. Like, I mean, we were just like, essentially it was like, look, here's this cool cowboy guy. He's going to be some kind of, I don't know, undead monstrous cowboy thing. Like, what should he do? And it was actually one of our balance designers was like, what if he spit out a bunch of like missiles and it can kind of work like, like it does. And it's just like, it'll be like if there's only one dude, they all hit him. But if it's lots of dudes, maybe it's random, and we're like, oh, that's a cool idea. And then, Adam Bellafield was like, I can prototype that, and we got it working, and it was super cool. We're like, this is going to be great. And then we're like, what goes with this, essentially? So the idea is that, like, we wanted an ability that would benefit from being hit multiple times.
Right.
So it's like, The idea is that like it's a burst ability, but it's a burst ability that gets confirmed by either I'm a god and I just shoot you 4 times and I don't miss because I'm Juwan, you know, instead of me. But like if I'm you know, playing and I'm me, it's not Juwan. I need an ability that can actually hit a few times. So the idea was like I've isolated you, and now I want an ability that combos with that. And originally, before he had the reload, he had another ability which allowed him to like kind of tank a little bit better. And then we were like, no, we have this cool reload. But then it's like people were saying, well, I want to be able to control the reload, so we needed to give him a reload ability, and that's kind of how that came about.
Okay. One of the things that I'm curious about, and I'd be curious if Jawan, you have some feedback on this, is getting the timing down on when to obliterate, because my first time using it, I understood it was random and I'd still try to position, and then you see like 2 go off to someone else that's on screen and you're like, oh man, I wish that would have gone to, you know, the target that you wanted. How have you guys kind of gone around playing with obliterate? Is it like when you position a target and try to ISO them, it's like you guys are positioning in a specific way to land it?
There's a couple tricks to it. You can kind of go a little bit farther to the left or right of the character to try to, whoever has less people on it, or use the kit itself and use your ultimate, because that'll actually just isolate them and guarantee all of your abilities. So you have to kind of decide on if you can make them isolated or not.
So one thing we should probably talk about, because this is going to come up, if you are the offlaner versus Revenant, pre-level 5, word to the wise, this guy does a lot of damage real fast. Faster than you think. Level 2 Revenant, Scar Obliterate combo pretty much is a lot of damage. So it's kind of like you have to treat him like he's Aurora early on. Because if you're engaging, if you let Revenant chase you away from your creeps as the offlaner, and you're in that dead zone between the creeps and your tower, and he gets on you, that can be a bad time. So just so you know, just to be clear, like, word to the wise.
But that's but that's what I would imagine being like that scenario where you kind of just get get smacked in the face by obliterate. Is that they're preying on you, like got a couple of minions up, and it's just like, I'm gonna hit those 2 minions, then immediately obliterate, and then you're just gonna take all this damage.
I feel like that's
face.
really what's going to separate a lot of folks from
the subtle lane play.
It's like subtle play between, all right, I understand completely how obliterate works, and then I go in and I dominate, and then it's like, oh, I kind of get it. Oh, this ability is so cool. Let me hit all these enemies, and then you're like, oh, that
damage gets split. It's not that bursty.
It actually didn't deal as much damage as I thought. So
yeah, he can get his cap real fast, but he starts off more powerful than your average like Twin Blaster Murdoch in lane. So like he starts off a little higher, he ramps up a little higher. It doesn't quite have the same top end as a Sparrow or a Fallen or a Sarah does, but like, you know, the burst potential is really high, and just, you know, watch for, he's got a, you know, once his obliterate's on cooldown and his scar's on cooldown, he's reloading, that's when he's vulnerable. Like, he can't do anything during that time. So like, it's kind of like he creates what was it? Alex said AWP problems from Counter-Strike. It's like your buddy gets sniped, and then everyone hides and waits for the reload, and then comes out and gets sniped. It's like, essentially, if you like, during the reload is when you engage him, and you can actually. So there's a lot of room for counterplay there, but it's more like positional MOBA counterplay, and not so much like, you know, shooter counterplay, because he's going to show up and do a lot of damage.
Yeah, and I can't wait to talk to effects guys when we talk about some of the stuff that they had to do, because his reload is very.
You mean heroes? Is that what you mean? Do you mean heroes?
Yes.
Because the heroes are coming next. The people who actually make it. The people who actually make it look the way it does.
Yes. So thank you guys for coming on. We're going to get on Zach and Kevin to talk about art and modeling next, and then we will have Frederick and Aaron shortly thereafter. So thank you guys.
Bye, guys.
Thank you guys.
Bye-bye.
We'll be right back. All right, welcome back. We have Zach and Kevin here to talk about art and modeling. Zach, now can we cut to in game real quick on my screen? I just want to show this off because some really on my screen on this one. Do we have this one up? Bring the game up. But anyway, there's some really cool stuff, and I wanted to show this off because the skins are rad, and I'm really digging the hero. But I wanted to show folks this really quick in game. Now, this is Revenant in game. This is on my account. You guys look already. Yeah. Yeah, I picked him up right away. Nice. So one of the things I wanted to show folks, and I told people I would, is that this master skin is I was telling the guys right before the stream, this master skin is hands down my favorite in the game, eclipsing Sevarog. But it is amazing, guys. It is absolutely incredible. Awesome. You guys did an awesome job. And I just wanted to show them that real quick. Oh, one more thing. Look at this, guys. Look at this feature. There it is. Theme music. I can choose whatever I want, baby. Yes. All right.
Freedom.
Okay. All right. We're good. Zach, what was it like for you to bring this particular hero to life? Where were you at, and what was some of the inspiration for you?
It was actually a lot of fun. I guess it was probably about almost getting close to 2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Maybe a year and a half.
Goodness. Okay.
Yeah, I actually concepted him similar to the time I concepted like Sevarog and Crunch. I think they're all like right in a row kind of. It was like maybe like a 5-month period between all those. But yeah, it was awesome. I think I was actually playing a lot of Bloodborne at the time.
Okay.
But yeah, I started a lot of the reference for him was like this anime Trigun was a lot of the reference I got, and then like Clint Eastwood and a lot of like classic Western
the man
stuff.
with no name.
Yeah. So we knew we wanted him to be like a heavy Western themed. So then the whole kind of like creature underneath, I was kind of trying to push like a mysterious vibe, like you don't really know what's under there. It's always just kind of you catch a glimpse of the eyes or something, and then the hand slightly creepier.
Creepy, yeah. It's like it's like
yeah. That was pretty much all the.
Okay. Did you kind of have a picture in mind of like, I want to say like a demon-esque type figure underneath, or was it more along because of some of the there it is right there, because of that hand? That's what I almost always think of. And then my second question with that is, if that was if it was a demon, how did you come up with the concept for the gun?
The gun, well, there was like a really, really early kit I was working off of as far as design goes. Okay. But this was like more of a pitch kit. It was so far before anything was actually tested that there was like loose, like we think his abilities might be this. So we knew he had, we knew he had a gun. We knew some basic stuff. Okay. And then everything else was just kind of adding on for visuals. But the pistol definitely came because it was in the kit. Like we knew he was supposed to have a revolver.
But yeah, it's cool. I think people are drawn to the hand as well because it's the only the other areas you would think would be exposed.
Yeah, I mean,
like the eyes, and you're like, logically.
We saw so many people commenting on it, in particular.
That was one of the things Cameron really wanted to push too, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Hey, you want to look like a normal guy from behind because you can't see his face. It's like there is no face, right? And then you see his weird claw, like underneath.
Yeah. Just plucks you and pulls you into the nether realm.
Not human, right? So.
Yeah, that was tying into the whole like you don't really know if he's human or if he's creature underneath. That was kind of the whole vibe we were trying to go with from the beginning.
Yeah, it looks amazing.
And then they pushed that hand really far, like his whole abilities. Kind of like goes
like
with the mark.
Pulling down the mask stuff.
And from a concept to modeling standpoint, what was the work like between working with Kevin and the modeling crew? From concept to getting it actually in the game.
It was awesome. I've worked with Mike Kime, who modeled it a bunch, and I know he always kills everything.
Yes.
So I kind of knew. I kind of knew going forward. Like we've worked on a bunch of stuff, so it wasn't really any like questions. We both kind of knew how each other works, and I think the only back and forth really that happened on this guy was with the gun.
Okay.
Because like the gun for the concept here, it's kind of like from a distance, so I didn't really take it as far. So when Kime got the model, he had some questions about the gun. So then I did a closer up, like painting of the gun, to kind of help flesh him out, kind of what I was thinking.
Was it always 4 barrels?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. We were. That was a big thing. Kime and I were really pushing is having the gun do really cool like transformation stuff, and Kime took that really far in his. I think there'll probably be a shot of it later.
Yeah, we'll show that down the road. Yeah.
But yeah, how the barrels actually open up. Yeah, and then this would be like an example of like a shot I would send off while I'm working on them, like to the rest of the art team, and Lanning and everybody else to kind of get their feedback, see if it's going in the right direction. And you can kind of see I was definitely playing some Bloodborne, but we ended up going more Western with it.
And you did most of that in ZBrush, right? So
yeah. Yeah, I did him the same way I do most of my other characters. I started with a really loose sketch, but for this guy, I don't even think I saved the sketch. It was more of just pull my art director in, get him to look at it, and since he liked the direction right away, I could spend more time on actually like making him.
It's like, hey, I did this thing. Is it like you like that or?
Yeah, I think you hit this one right off the bat.
Yeah, so this would be like me taking quick screenshots in ZBrush, the program I'll sculpt in, and then sending this off to make sure it's going in the right direction. And then from there, if it gets approved and everything, then I go to the final image, which we started with and everything.
So good. One of my favorites so far. Now, from a modeling standpoint, Kevin, I know Mike did a lot of work
Mike
on
Kime
it.
did the whole model, and then Mike Buck did the texturing for this guy.
Okay.
So I'm here to just kind of fill in for them.
Yeah. So can we start looking at some of? Is this more concept?
Yeah, actually, if you want to go through this real quick, this is so. Anytime we have a kit, what we try doing is we try to go through and have the concept artists like flesh out each ability so that each department knows, what's coming down the pipe and what the overall direction and capabilities of this character are. So this is done by Herman, I believe, right?
Yeah. Herman did this.
Yeah,
He's awesome at these.
So he'll go through like left mouse
these.
button, idle, all the abilities, and just kind of proof concept this stuff out. And that way, we're all on the same page. We have a meeting from here, and all the leads and disciplines get together and kind of be like, all right, this is where we're going, or we'll make changes.
This is super cool.
Yeah, our pipeline's pretty fleshed out to kind of alleviate any changes down the road, right?
Right.
We want everything up front as much as possible. But yeah, if you go to this is pretty sweet. And then obviously, Frederick will show you some of the effects work that was based off of a lot of this as well, and he did an incredible job pushing even further.
Oh, yeah, the effects for this guy are awesome.
Yeah, they're insane.
Yeah, it's so cool seeing like the end result after working on this from like a concept point.
Yeah.
Just seeing like, what comes out at the end. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so much cooler.
Let's go on to the next.
Yep. Yeah, so obviously Zach will hand off, the concept, and this is Mike Kime's first proto mesh. So what we do is we flush it out. We flush out all the shapes, get that all proven out. We'll hand it off to Aaron. He's gonna be the rigging department guy, coming talking about everything next, and then he'll make sure everything's working properly. And once that's approved, we move into the high poly and start flushing that out a little more. So this is Mike showing off some of the ZBrush sculpture. Just full body, just work in progress, And each pass, he adds a layer of detail.
Yeah. You can kind of see the intricacies in like the belt and the back and just the little areas where, like the tatters get added to like the shoulders. Pads.
Yeah.
Yeah. So instead of going there and just decking this guy out in one section, we do passes. It's a lot less rework if changes come that way. Yeah, and here you can see he's added he's detailed them out basically, right? I think this is pretty much the high poly finished.
Wow, look at
You
that.
see like the leather
threading.
stretching.
The threading. Mike, anytime you give Mike a concept, and Zach already proved out a lot of this concept in the ZBrush model, but he just takes it one step further.
Yeah,
That's how
he
most
always.
Our crew is pretty
I still can't get over the funnel spider web from Morigesh.
From Morigesh?
Yeah.
Oh my God, we were going
Mike's-
nuts.
Still
he's a
cannot
creative
handle
dude,
that.
man. He's awesome. So this is the final high poly. Yep. And then you can see you can see all the symbolism work and kind of on the trench coat, right?
So one thing, Kevin, that I have to bring up because I don't think we don't talk about it a whole lot.
Yeah.
But I feel like if anything got a break from this, and I don't know exactly how much this was discussed, but I always know modeling and rigging and stuff on our faces takes a really
it does, man.
really
You're
long
right.
time.
Yeah.
And so Revenant not having a face, did that like help that process a little bit?
It did. You know, Revenant didn't have hair. That's another week right there.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's no. I mean, he has his other challenges though, right? He's really effects heavy, so a lot of that time went to effects. Right. It's always a trade-off. But yeah, no face on this guy was definitely a time saver. No hair. Those are two things that are always, you know, huge time sinks to get right. But then again, this guy has a lot of cloth, so Aaron had to spend a lot of time making the trench coat work.
Oh, yeah, he's going to show some trench coat tech he was talking about,
the hand enlarging coming at you, and then, you know, the guy pulls down his scarf and all his effects pour out of his mouth.
Yeah.
You know, it's always a trade-off where you spend the money and the time. But yeah, so it cuts corners though. Anytime we can get away with no face, we're like, all right.
You guys just don't know how many discussions we've had about faces on Heroes.
Faces,
it is,
man.
No, and to give you guys
a lot of work.
To give you guys an estimate, like, you know, concepting is about 3 weeks, right? I don't know if we were going over that.
Yeah. No, we typically don't. Yeah.
Concept's 3 weeks. You know, proxy models usually about 4 or 5 days. I know there's probably a lot of dev guys watching this. And then high poly, once we sink our teeth into high poly, that's 5 weeks. And then from there, you know, it's usually approved. And then, you know, we'll add 3 weeks for the low polying process. And then that goes to texture artists, and that's 3 weeks right there.
Yeah.
So and then that's not even including effects, rigging, reanimation. Yeah. So it's a long, it's a long.
It's a lot of stuff that goes into each.
You know, we're already working on 2018 characters.
Yeah, I know.
Let's go.
So one of the things, do we have an image of the gun in the modeling? And I don't.
Yeah, if you want to cycle through this, actually. So here's Mike's final high poly for the gun, and I think there's an animation here. So Mike, all the artists will do proof of concept animations, just to make sure it's working before the rigger gets their hands on it.
So this video, when I saw it for the first, like, last year, I was like, holy.
Yeah, right.
I couldn't wait for it to come out, but I was just new in my mind. I was like, man, this is so far out. I'm sad I saw this and I watched.
He did an incredible job on this.
Yeah, it's awesome.
All the guys, they just dig in, man. They do incredible jobs on each hero they do. There's a lot of passion in our team, in our discipline, and the ones following. So.
Yeah, and Kime always nails it. Like,
absolutely.
You can see the side view there.
Yep.
Like, he just
everything
just
nailed decked out, right?
Yeah.
You know, to perfection. So it looks great. And then from there he takes, you know, all that high poly work and traces over and does a low poly. So this is actually the low poly in-game model. You know, I mean, the high poly consists of I don't know how many millions of polys, and then it gets baked down to 85K tries, and there's usually 4 or 5 texture maps, 4Ks on that. Yep. So, and as you can see though, I mean, man, the resolution, the detail, all the work Mike poured into that came through, which is incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's all in-game models. This is before we hand it off to the texture artist.
Okay.
So that's just, you know, AO map, normal map, whatnot.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So this is more of our pipeline kind of, you know, how we approve things. And then, you know, going from here, it goes into the texture artist. Oh, there's a gun. Again, maintained all the detail, which that alone is an art in itself,
awesome.
you know, to get that down.
Sounds like he went in and etched the stuff on the gun himself. Like
no, he did.
He's that kind of thing, right?
That was one of the things in the concept early on, because, you know, I have all the filigree stuff on there, but I did, you know, doing all that in 2D is really simple for me. I can just, you know, throw that on there in a couple minutes, and then Kime's over there sitting there. Well, I got to model all this stuff.
Oh no, man! He'll just go home for a couple days and come back
with some magic. He's just like, I just whipped this together.
That's why the beard is so.
That's the beard. The power comes from the beard.
So this is Mike Buck right here. This is his texture pass on Revenant. So Mike's an amazing texture artist. He's been here forever.
Good.
Yeah, that guy's a legend. So yeah, we wanted to do like a really dusty kind of look on this guy, worn. This guy was really easy for us in general because he's right up our wheelhouse, right?
Right.
So a lot of the guys that have been here for a while, like this is the kind of stuff we love doing.
Yep.
So, yeah. And then we're doing day 1 skins now. I don't know if you guys have probably noticed, right? So whenever a hero releases, we have a skin that comes with it. And then so Mike was working on this guy, and we were like, hey, you got any thoughts, initial, like just a pitch, and we'll pass it off to a concept artist to do. So I think Mike spent like an hour on this. So don't judge the artwork or anything, but his whole idea was like, yeah, what if we had this cool raven, like a raven version of this guy? He had all these feathers and whatnot, and like a skull, bird skulls and whatnot. It was just like a darker version. So we took that. We thought it was a great idea. We took that. We passed it to Yangji or Jiang in China, in the next image, and then he did a refinement pass on that initial idea. And yeah, this is what we ended up with for our day 1.
Oh my god.
Yeah. pretty awesome. I'm pretty stoked about this one.
Oh yeah,
Like
no,
said,
that's.
I went in the game. I was like, purchase.
Yeah, yeah.
No, and I'm not
Right
like
away.
I'm not like a carry guy at all. But like this is like a this. I'm gonna scoop this skin.
Totally, man. I would. Yeah, buy it up. And then from there, we go to. I think we go to the final. Yeah, this is the final. U-How modeled the feathers based off Keim stuff work, and then this is Mike Buck again doing texture work. But yeah, he's available for sale. Tomorrow?
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Day one skin.
So.
All right. Well, thank you guys so much for going through that process. We're going to
Absolutely.
talk about
thank you guys.
effects and rigging next. Should be our animation and is it
Yeah,
animation?
it's FX and rigging.
Yeah,
Yeah.
rigging. And we hope you guys enjoyed that little segment. But thank you guys for coming on. And
Yeah,
we'll
thank
be
you
right back.
guys.
Come on.
Appreciate it.
Yep.
All right, we're back. I'm gonna have Mooney's gonna talk to these guys
Talk about,
about
rigging and FX. It's gonna
Yeah.
be really exciting. I was honestly really excited about the FX and all of the like subtle just like animation stuff for him, because I remember earlier on hearing about the stuff where you want to pull like I remember Cam even explaining to me when he explained the abilities, he would like do all the visual stuff. So it was really awesome when I saw it in game and I was like, oh, that's actually
what
how
happened, yeah.
how it like was shown to me.
Yep.
So I know that Kevin sort of brought this up with like some of the clothing stuff, but he mentioned the trench coat, and I know we were talking about that. How you said you'd done a lot of work on the trench coat to kind of get the trench coat tech in there.
Yep. He's actually the first character on Paragon to have a trench coat. So when I was working with Mike early on, we had to figure out how we were going to model it to make it work correctly. We usually have two options for cloth. We can usually use anim dynamics or cloth physics. In this case, we actually used both. I actually put some videos in.
Right, so we can pull those up and then we can go through those.
This first one is without anything. It's just there's no anim dynamics, no cloth or anything. The second one is with anim dynamics, so you can see how it's bouncing off of the thigh.
Yeah.
And then the third one is with cloth. So we ended up just layering anim dynamics with the cloth physics, and it worked out pretty well. We wouldn't have been able to do it if the trench coat was all one piece, because you only get 4 influences per vertex for when you're skinning it.
Right.
So Mike actually, when I was working with him, we cut it in half. So you can see that the top of the trench coat is actually welded to his torso, and then the bottom half is actually just its own mesh.
Well, no, that was really cool because you could actually see it on the sides. It was kind of going through initially, and then that kind of went away, and it actually conformed around the sides. And then the end, you get that natural flow from like the running forward. That's really cool.
Yeah, it worked out pretty well.
So yeah,
This was actually about the shoulder duster. So for his default skin, we used cloth for his shoulder duster. But for his 1.5 skin, because of the feathers, we weren't able to. So we used anim dynamics.
right.
And those two guys come with the skin.
Naturally. Yeah, Chris and Charles included.
Right.
But yeah, no, that's really cool. So when in the process, we kind of spoken about it. So do you generally work very close with like the modeling? Does rigging and modeling usually work very close? I know Chris had talked about that last time. I had like worked very close with Mike on a lot of the subtle things he had done to like catch the skin pulling on Morgash. And did you have to do any of that more specific stuff, or was it more like the cloth physics stuff with Revenant?
Well, see, the cool thing about rigging is we're kind of the intermediate between modeling and animation.
Right.
And like you saw earlier with Mike Keim's gun, he
Yeah.
had already done most of the work for us. Like he had
yeah.
already like even animated it. You know? So we just had to not screw it up, basically. So it was actually really cool because a lot of it was fleshed out before I even got started on it.
Okay.
I think a lot of people were really excited, early on when Zach pushed out the concepts.
Yeah.
So when it came to work on him, you know, it was actually pretty easy for the most part. It was just fleshing out the cloth and the dynamics.
Nice. That's really cool. I think that's one of the like last time, like Chris going through that that whole process, like the rigging process, is really helpful to kind of gain perspective and insight in that, because we hadn't really talked about that on previous dev streams. We kind of we'd gone into depth on animation with like mocap and stuff, and like we'd always gone in depth on like FX, but I think rigging was one area where we hadn't really touched too like heavily on.
One stream in total with rigging.
Yeah, and then we had the Chris going like super deep on the tech, and that was like really interesting to see, because you don't really think about that, but that's a lot of the stuff that makes it feel normal, you know, when you're playing and you're just like, oh, all of this just works, feels like it should, and it's a kind of combination of all those things. Like, I'm shooting this gun, is my trench coat going the right direction when I turn? Like, if I actually chase after this guy, does it look like I'm running in the right direction, or does it look like the wind is blowing me back and I'm moving forward? Right.
It's the subtle things that you don't notice, but they're there.
Yeah, it's the perception.
Right.
So FX wise, you know, that's a lot of people just were loving the FX on this hero, like with Revenant. So, you know, Frederick, so how was this in the process for you, like working on Revenant kind of from start to finish? Was it a lot more straightforward like other heroes you'd worked on in the past, or was this more?
Well, in the beginning it was mainly about finding what kind of look we wanted for the hero. And we found out pretty early we wanted to go with his like face material and his hand material, and try to push that into the effects. So we went for like a black, dark, liquidy look on a lot of stuff. Right. And then we also needed like a secondary color for that. And we went into like a red, kind of like an evil direction, just to make him like stand out. It's a powerful color combination.
No, and that definitely ended up fitting with the hand, because you can kind of see that whole like it all being one cohesive colors, like the whole scheme, because you have the hand pull down the mask, and then you have the red come out, which I almost like imagine it's like he's just like pouring all this hate, like it's just all this like anger, like
it looks very evil.
Like it is. That definitely accomplished the goal. And I think you brought some videos we can look at, some stuff we can pull up.
Yeah, some very quick things. This is basically one of his in-game projectiles with some new curl material tech.
Nice.
First one was with curl off. This is in-game. And this is what happened when you start pushing tech a little bit too far, I guess. It still holds together. Now it's just, it's a mess. It still looks interesting. But,
it looks cool.
A bit too intense, possibly.
Wow. Right, kind of shows you the different levels we can go to with the different abilities.
Yes, and since it's all the parameters and material, it's very easy to tweak it until we can find the look we want, basically. And this is all real time, and you sit and you watch it and you tweak the values until you find something you like, and then you show it to other people and you go through.
Kind of get the review going.
Yeah.
Did you guys coming into Revenant? Did you kind of have the concept that you wanted a lot of the when you guys come in like to making the different FX for the different abilities, and we kind of have heard about the process before, where you kind of get like the paper kit where you're like, all right, we have this to work from.
Right.
With Revenant, I know, of course, I'm sure the Ultimate was a little bit of when you were reading about the Ultimate or initially getting into that, did you guys have any ideas of how you were going to represent that, or any of those other abilities?
Right. For the Ultimate, we knew we wanted something fairly drastic. And basically what you need to start with is trying to find the broad strokes, the easy things you can start with. And it's basically you need to change the entire screen to have a real impact, more or less. So we're like, okay, we have black and we have red. Well, put them together, and we put them into the screen, basically, or onto the screen. And we try to basically just from there find what works for the character. And we knew it was gonna be sort of this like demon, like evil. So we lower visibility, we put a bunch of stuff in the sky, we put all this fog in, and the red and black.
The end effect is awesome. Now, was
Thank
that
you.
probably like the most challenging?
That was actually fairly simple.
Really?
What you're seeing right now on the screen was probably the most challenging to figure out how to get to work in the material.
Yeah.
Also within performance budgets and so on.
There was actually one point in his ult where the water actually was purple.
Right.
It just stayed that way.
Yeah, that was probably one of our longest bugs. It just stayed there for weeks and weeks, and eventually it was just,
it's like, is that water purple?
I told them to keep it, but guess not.
No. Not good practice, I guess. Oh, and here we're also seeing an image from a very early version of his Ultimate. And again, how you can take it a bit too far. I mean, I was loving this, and then I had to take a step back and came back to the screen, I was like, I can't even see the hero anymore.
Right.
I mean, this could be an issue. So I was showing basically to people, and
right.
Yeah, they were basically saying the same thing. You might have gone a little bit too far here, and it sometimes happens.
Right, of course.
When you find something and you keep pushing in that direction,
right,
and you're loving it, and then it's just.
But that's how you find the cool things too, right? You got to push. You got to push a little bit to find the break point, and then you take a step back from that.
Yeah, and it's content we have here, and we might be able to use it for something someday. It was definitely interesting testing. So yep.
So, we kind of talked about the process before, but like for you guys this time on Revenant, did it feel like more of a straightforward process than some of the other heroes? Speaking to how we talked to Kevin and Zach about that. How did you feel on your guys' end, like coming through the pipeline?
I think the difficulty with him was we wanted to match the design with the shape language that Zach and Mike put out, and he's a left shooter with a right hand ability.
Right, yeah.
So they had to decide whether they wanted him to shoot left hand and have the shape language of his right hand, or vice versa. Because either way, you'll lose that shape language.
Yeah.
Right.
And I think Scott just nailed it when he was doing the animations. I think that was probably one of the most difficult things that he had to deal with for the animations, and he nailed it. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think with a hero like Revenant, I think it's seemingly everybody was really excited to work on that hero and work on that concept, and kind of like push it out for the team, because everybody I talked to about it was just like really excited to work on the hero. And was it comes out in like the subtle things you see, where it's like, yeah, we saw this thing happening, we just wanted to fix it because it's Revenant.
Right. I actually started his polish in March, but his polish for me wasn't until May.
Nice.
And Scott had started like immediately after I had finished some of the polish, and so like by the time we had the first hero review, like he was already looking pretty straightforward.
That's good.
So it's cool to have that extra time to work on the character to really polish him out.
So specifically with Revenant, like we know Cameron talked about like the ambitious things we wanted to do with his ultimate and kind of the way his kit was working. In terms of on the rigging animation FX side, do you have any, like, do we have to do anything new or, break any, because we've kind of talked about in this past where, like, on that animation FX design side, we'll try and implement something new, some new tech or something. Like for Richter, I believe there was some new, like, rigging hookup that they talked about with the chains. And was there anything new you had to do for Revenant? Any old functionality you kind of revived from the past?
For the most part, it was just the cloth to figure that out, and then also, like, how he was arranged when he was shooting. Another thing that I did while I was working on him was I worked on a weight management system, which typically when you're dealing with weights for a character in rigging, you have two options. You can either write a C++ plugin or it's harder to integrate into the pipeline because you have to compile per API version. And I know this is a bit technical, but if you do that, the backwards compatibility is a lot harder to achieve, and it's also harder to integrate into the pipeline as well as share with the community.
Right.
If you write it in Python, you have to iterate through the verts, which takes a lot longer. So I actually developed a system that Maya has this Python API that is basically a wrapper for their C++ API, which allowed me to leverage their C++ API in Python to write a weight management system that was actually a lot faster in Python than it is when you iterate through the verts.
That's cool.
And the only reason why I'm mentioning it is because our Art V1 tools that are available in the marketplace. The next time I do a build for that, those changes will
go in there.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly.
Awesome.
People,
Spreading the love.
The UE devs out there will be able to use them. Yeah,
Let's go. So for you, Frederick, was there anything new that you were implementing or thinking about that you had to do for Revenant?
Right. The curl noise stuff.
Okay.
Saw a video of before.
Those,
was a new one, and no, it was basically just trying to generally stay within the performance.
Right, just keep that the feel, the aesthetic of Revenant the whole way through the hero.
Yeah,
that's cool. That's really cool.
And I think that about.
I think. So thank you guys for coming on. It was awesome. I think the one thing with the Revenant is really feeling like every time hearing about that group effort, like the various areas, because it's cool like when somebody will do that extra work and you come in later and you're just like, they did such a good job, so I have to kill it now. It's like everybody talking about Mike killing it on the gun in the certain areas. It's like, all right, now we have to do a great job too.
I want to say it was Jay when he was on. He talked a couple times about each new hero. It's like we set the bar,
pushing
here,
the bar.
It's like, man, we got to keep one-upping each of these, so it becomes kind of a challenging process. But fun, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's fun. It's also, like you said, challenging.
Keeps things spicy.
Yeah, you can't just keep things simple.
Yeah. So Hope you guys enjoyed that. Next up, we have Marco on. We're going to show off something very, very special for the community. But Frederick and Aaron, thank you guys so much for coming on, and hopefully we'll have you guys back soon.
Yeah, sure.
All right, we'll be right back. All right, we are back, and I'm here with Marco Neller. Marco is an artist. He also happens to be an artist in the Paragon community as well. Marco, thank you so much for being here. Now, I think the stream is anxious to hear some lore.
Yeah.
And there is something that you made as a part of coming out here, and
I can't. Listen, honestly, I cannot.
I don't think you guys are ready for this.
I came downstairs. I was like gonna get some coffee. I was like, all right, you know what? I'm just get some coffee, start off the day. Went downstairs. I saw Marco and Chris. They were like hanging up by the tables, and I walk over, and he shows me this thing. He shows me this thing on his tablet, and I watched it. And I was like, wow. I regret not waiting to watch that because that was amazing.
Yes.
I'm just standing there in awe the whole time, and he's just like, yeah, I wanted. This is I was just doing this, and we put this together, and I'm just like, oh my, I don't know what's going on right now.
Thanks, man. I
Marco,
appreciate that.
Incredible job. Listen, if you are watching right now, please take an opportunity to get ready to clip this. We will try to post it
the scissors
on our channel on YouTube shortly after. We post the overview is up today. We're going to get the live stream up, but we want to post this individually as well. Bang up job from Marco, but this is Revenant's lore. I'm not talking about it. We're just going to show it.
Yeah.
Jedediah Sparks was the best bounty hunter on Omega, tracking down the fugitives who hid in the waste outside of the city. While not particularly murderous, the majority of his dead or alive bounties were brought in dead, just the nature of the business. He never gave up, and he never failed. When one of his targets escaped to Letha, Jed followed. He tracked his target to the wild region, only to find out the man had been possessed by an ancient spirit. The spirit immediately realized that Jeddah was the better host and tried to possess him. The ensuing battle killed Jeddah's body. But something inside of him fought on. He was too stubborn just to die and go away. And so, the two became a strange hybrid of ornery man and malignant spirit. The being called Revenant went back to hunting down fugitives, but now with a terrifying twist. When he heard the portals to Agora had opened, he knew he must go there.
I don't want to say I told you so. I don't want to be that guy.
Yeah, I mean, Marco, that was incredible, absolutely incredible. So my first question is for you: what got you into Paragon?
Well, It's really interesting because I actually used to not really play MOBAs. I always kind of wanted to, and I would see them and be like, it's not really my style. But then, like, before Paragon came out, I started thinking about it because I had a lot of friends who played League, and I actually jumped into Smite for a while and was playing that, which is awesome game. They're awesome games.
Yeah.
I'm an old school Epic fan, and I like that, like, gritty kind of, like, feeling to that design. So then Paragon came out, and I don't even know how I saw it. I saw it, and I was like, oh, Epic's got a new game. Oh, crap. It's like a MOBA. And it's literally every way that I would have made a MOBA. Like, if I had a pencil and paper and, like, some money, obviously, I would have literally made that game. So I just played it and instantly became hooked on it. Like, it feels like playing a Gears of War-ish kind of, like, MOBA. So from that moment, I just sort of dug into it. Like, I do a lot of artwork for, different clients and stuff. But literally, I am at my computer and I'll do my work, and then I won't even get up. I'll just, like, let me queue up real quick. Play some Paragon. I've been playing it for a while, and then just recently, I think with the start of, it really sort of clicked when they made the Rampage emote, where he's just, like, sitting like this.
Like that.
And I'm like, I identify with Rampage. That's, like, one of my favorite characters, and I was like, that's so sick. So I got a new iPad randomly, and I was like, what should I draw? And I was like, I'm gonna draw Rampage. And I drew it, and I at that same time, I had also just found the Paragon Reddit, because I wasn't really a Reddit user. And I'm like, I should throw some stuff on there. And I throw it on there, and the reception was really well. And I was like, man, so this is what community's like. Like, other games I've worked on have communities, but I didn't really sort of participate. I didn't dig in. I was, like, working on the game. But this one is a game that I'm not working on, that I can, finish work and then go home and be excited about this, and then also be able to contribute to. So that's just kind of how it happened. I did that piece, and then I did, like, a couple of more sketches here and there. And then I think Chris had reached out. He's like, yo, dude, I kind of want to, like, see if we can do some stuff. So he hit me up and was like, would you be interested in maybe coming out? And right then, I think he got an earful on the phone, because I was like, bruh, you don't even know, man. I'm gonna make this. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that. He's just like, yo, man. Like, okay, that's cool. But, like, you're not gonna really do all this stuff, right? Because we're not paying you, right? Because it's community,
right?
And I'm like, no, man. I love the community so much. My birthday is, like, right this week. I'm like, that'll be the perfect birthday present for myself. Let me just dig in, see how much work I can make and, like, throw into this project. And it was literally just sort of passion project for me.
Absolutely incredible.
It refueled some fire. Shout out to my friend Danish Syed, because when I was making it, I asked him, I was like, yo, you think we can, like, cut this together in, like, a short animatic? And he's a friend of mine who I worked on Mortal Kombat with.
Okay.
We did the endings for Mortal Kombat, which was, we use that same methodology.
Right.
Like, I would draw a piece, I would pass it to him, and he would cut it and animate it. And, like, we would work together. And since I moved away from Chicago, I missed him a lot. And I was like, yo, we should work on this thing. And he's like, say no more, let's go. And I just was, like, furiously drawing, sticking this stuff together at the last minute, having a great time. And then it wasn't until he put it together
that it was like,
yeah, I mean, I was drawing it, and I knew that I had enough content to put it together. But literally at 4 a.m. this morning, when the final touches came together, I had kind of been staying away. I didn't want to see what he would do with it. But it came together, and we literally were just like, and it was as cool for me to see it as it was for you guys to see it. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it.
No. I so hope the community enjoyed that. So I want to ask some questions about art. I think we brought out artists. We have a lot of artists that draw fan art. They do all types of things. What has it been like for you to have a passion for art? I want to know, when did it start, and then how did you kind of move your way into the industry?
So, I get that question all the time. People are like, well, were you born that way, or did you go into it? And I guess the truth is a long time ago, my mom got me this, like, coloring book. She didn't want me to become an artist, apparently. I've talked to her about this and asked her this question before, because she was an artist. She used to draw, like, the ads for Dillard's and stuff.
Okay.
And she just had, like, a rough time in the industry back then. It was very different. Like, there was no YouTube or Google or anything.
Right.
It was just so cutthroat all the time. And she got me this coloring book. She says I was 4, it was one of the old school ones that have, you can color a page, but then they also have a trace page. And she had noticed that I was doing it backwards. Like I wasn't tracing the image. I had the page the wrong way. So I was like drawing, just copying one for one. And she said, she just threw her hands up and was like, damn, this is going to happen. So from then I just sort of like, you know, I tried other things out. I do other things like, you know, I love violin and I love music and like a bunch of other stuff. But art has always just been like that sort of passion for me that I can really get excited about it. Like I'm never happier than I am, well, when I'm in the gym, but also when I have a pencil in my hand. Like that's when I'm just like constantly, you know, finding my own happiness that way.
That's great. That's fantastic.
Your mom's just like that coloring book.
Yeah, she's like, she's never done it. Of course, she likes it now though. Like she's cool with it now. It's really interesting because I think growing up, she didn't want me to become an artist. But then, you know, she's really active in the church and community and stuff. And then after that, once she kind of realized that I could make a career off of this, it was like when I was doing Mortal Kombat. It was funny because I logged in Facebook one day and noticed that she was, she had retweeted a bunch of stuff on like Facebook of me drawing people ripping each other's heads off to like the church community. She's like, so proud of my son. Like, I don't know if you can.
That's so good. I can't imagine like
it looks like we have on screen some of the process of going through that motion cinematic that you created for Revenant. Can you kind of talk through some of that process?
Yeah, so there was a lot of images that I came up with, usually in the morning time before work. I like to work in the morning time, so it's like 4 a.m.-ish. I'll pop up, grab some coffee, and just sort of get this out, because this is fun for me. This is like passion stuff. So I just start cranking this stuff out, and you can see here, while I was working on some of it here and there, I was also, you know, some of the stuff I would like stream to my Instagram live stuff, because people ask me all the time how to do certain techniques, and I really enjoy community, right? So I love to like give back, and even if I am not necessarily talking a lot, I can be working and recording, and then I'll just like write in what I did or how I got that little thing right there. So like right here, you're seeing that, you know, I'll do stuff a certain way, and then I'll go back and add like some pen to it or so on. These images right here are actually images that, you know, some of them got used, but you know, I was working against the clock with time, so some of the stuff didn't get used. Like I wanted to do that dope symbol down at the bottom there, and I was like really just kind of studying the world and the aesthetic of Paragon, of Monolith. Most of this stuff took place in my sketchbook. Here's a still shot of me, you know, just drawing. I actually, so interesting, I drew that in the airport bar last night because it was one of the last scenes, and people are staring at me like, what the heck? What is this guy drawing demons? And then this is sort of like how I put it together. So I'll take a photo, 3 or 4 different photos, cut them out in Photoshop and sort of place them together in a layered file, and I toss it over to my friend Danish and let him sort of make it move. So it's kind of like DJ and rapper. Like I'm doing the rapping and he's on the 1s and 2s, you know, like it's a really fun kind of dynamic that we've set up. I use a lot of different materials to do this stuff. I just kind of, like a musician, I guess, you know, it'll be guitar one day, violin the other day. Here, I'm doing this particular sketch on my iPad Pro because I thought like, yo, this is kind of dope. This is a cool instrument because they record the drawing when you're doing it.
Right.
So as you can see, this was like the last frame of the animation. So I kind of did this to relax and just draw the character a bit. But it recorded it, and then I was able to take that recording, chop it up, and also throw it in there on the other layers. Right. So everything came together. So it's like, you can like, it's interesting seeing it this way because you can see how much fun I have with it. Whether it's like sketching, whether it's I could be on a bus or something and just, you know, there's noise all around me, but I'm just like sketching a character. And I'm also merging another passion, which is Paragon, and just being able to just kind of disconnect and just come up with content. So since I'm doing it anyway, I'm usually kind of reclusive. I kind of keep all my stuff like close to the chin. But I was like, well, that's why I chose to do this project. I was like, I should do some stuff and just kind of put it out there and like show Epic the appreciation because, you know, I've had conversations with people where they're like, well, why do I have to buy so many skins and crap? This is the drawing that I did for the Rampage. It's going to take a little while. But they're like, why do I have to pay for skins? And it's like, yo, this company does this, you know, it's a free game to play. right? So the best way to support it is to get active, grab some skins, make some community stuff, talk to people, have fun with people.
Oh yeah.
And that's just kind of how I show appreciation for it, because I'm not gonna lie, Paragon has, like, people ask me, what are you playing these days? I'm like, y'all gonna think I'm weird, but I've been playing Paragon for like 1,000 hours. That's like literally the only game in the tray, and I never had to pay for it, you know? So this allows me to just sort of spiritually give back and just have fun.
It's awesome,
you know?
man. It's really amazing.
It's great seeing people like get involved, like however they get involved in the game, and then just seeing what they pull from the game, what part they're passionate about, what they care about, because like you kind of come in, you kind of find your own ways to get attached, your own like areas that you enjoy like playing. Like of course, like I love all the MOBA stuff of it, but it's like coming into it and seeing like, oh, I can make something really cool with that. Like that's that moment that you really feel attached and involved in the community, and I think that's super important.
Yeah, and it's really interesting too, because like, it's interesting that you say that, because that's exactly how I approach a lot of games. It kind of started when I used to play Warcraft a long time ago. I played forever.
This guy.
But exactly.
You're speaking to his heart.
Sorry, my heart skipped.
Awesome, dude. I'm an old school EverQuest fan, back before EverQuest, before they nerfed everything.
Mark, we'll talk after this.
Yeah, we'll definitely talk. But the cool thing about it is, I always said that like I play games as a cartographer. I think that's the right phrase, but I actually play a lot of Paragon, or I played a lot of Warcraft and all this stuff, but the majority of my time comes from, like, I'll play a game, and then I'll watch, where you can watch your game, and I'll pump the graphics up real high, like when you're taking like a SRWE photo or whatever it's called, and I'll just sort of zoom around and just fly around and explore the land, because I get a lot of inspiration for that. I think the ratio is like, 60-40, like 60 playing the game and then 40% just zooming around, really appreciating the guys' work. Like, you can look at even the in the jungle, like where the characters are on the little pads where the little robots are, like you can zoom up above that and look down and see all of this design work that went into even just creating that. And it's fun to like try to figure the story out, which is why I chose to do something lore related, because I'm looking down at these, like, you know, these gear type things, and I'm like looking at it, I'm like, all right, so are those the 3 moons? Like, is this connected to that? And you can totally either make up your own story, or you can you know, it just sort of lets you dig deeper. It's a really robust thing that Epic has created that allows you to enjoy it on one level, and then you can also enjoy it on so many other levels.
You know what hit me is, and really wasn't until you, the way you said it, as an artist, it never dawned on me that you can hear a story or see something, and then visually, maybe this seems obvious, but visually you could then create your own story from it. And so it's in much of the same way, it reminded me of some of the things, like I'll look at a movie trailer, or I'll look at a someone else's montage, and I'll go, man, if I did this, and this in one of my videos, or something that I was creating, then maybe I can convey this a little bit better, or maybe it sparks an idea that does something else. So it's inspiring from, I think, mine for hearing someone else say that, but I'm sure if we still got Zach and Kevin in here on their end, I would be sure that they feel better knowing that someone is taking the time to go in and go, man, what does this mean? Oh, what is the pattern here? And saying, how can I create my own piece and story out of that's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, it's almost like enjoying a really good book. Like, that's one of the reasons why book to movie adaptations, people are always like, the book was better, because they give you a book and you're able to like bring your own stuff to it, right? And that's something that I really, really enjoy. Real quick on the screen, I was drawing the stuff for you guys, and then that character came out exactly that day, and I was like, I gotta draw some more. She's so sick, dude. Her design is like crazy. But no, that's one of the things that I like about the game, though, is that I can because there is not so much story currently, you can just kind of go in and just look around and bring your own stuff to it. Now, that doesn't mean that I wouldn't like a story, because story is awesome. But yeah, really cool world you guys have created.
We'll have to. I'm going to say this, and I don't want you guys to be too upset because of what Marco. This is just fantastic stuff. We're going to show you some stuff later that I think you will really enjoy.
Awesome.
So you have some more artwork that we wanted to show off, and again, this is just an incredible piece that we have playing here. But we have some more artwork that you've done, and you can just kind of talk through some of these pieces that you've done and over your career.
Yeah, so I probably like my career is I think maybe 10 years old at this point.
Okay.
And I still feel like I've never been to work a single day. Like it's just fun. Like it's just fun to work on this stuff. So here there's like a piece for Magic the Gathering that I do in my whenever I get commissions from them. I really love working in that world. Love making monsters and stuff. So this piece was called Comeuppance. It didn't even come together until like the last minute. I was fighting against a deadline, which seems to be when I do the best work. I was fighting against the deadline, and then when I saw it and lit it and like had the sparks and stuff flying off of him, and he's just like, oh crap, and yeah, it's just it really comes together at the last minute. This is another one of the pieces that I did for Magic.
Okay.
This one is I think it's called like Thunderfoot Baloth. It's really interesting in doing these pieces, especially now that I'm here talking to you guys and I'm looking at my catalog of work, because my inspiration, I'm 33. When I was at the height of, my second childhood, I guess, the games that were big, if you really wanted to play a dope game, it was Gears 1 and 2. That was it. So like if you look at this character, thinking about this piece is like maybe 5 years old, but it was very much like Gears inspired.
Like a berserker.
Yeah,
almost.
big clunky claws, like big clunky armor plates, tons of teeth, just huge, massive weighted character. The same with the character that was before that. Like I just sort of live in that world.
Right? Yeah, totally.
This is another quick piece for Magic. This was I forgot what it's called. It's like Erebos whip. It's so funny when we get the commissions for these, because it's like a paragraph.
Mm-hmm.
And I think the commission for this one was like, Marco, we need you to design a whip that's giant, that goes on forever into the horizon. It also has a universe in the whip. And I'm just like, what? How do I?
Well, I love the afterwards.
Yeah.
Also, universe in the whip. Yeah. Go ahead and.
They just kind of tack that stuff on there, and it's like, yo, what? How?
But that's that you did it. I mean.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the things I like about it, is that it just kind of makes you think about stuff. Like I take assignments or I sign up for things like I did here, because if I draw the same thing, I'm going to draw the same thing all the time. I stay in my comfort zone. But it's only like when I challenge myself and take on something else that I'm like, okay, I didn't think about that, but I guess I could try to make that cool. And then, if I get something cool out of it at the end of the day, by the way, I fail a lot. But if I get something cool out of it, then cool. That's like another thing that I can add to the dictionary. So it's interesting. We were talking about this piece earlier today down in the cafeteria. This piece is a few years old, and you can sort of see what I meant when I said I kind of have like an epic inspired style, because you can sort of see it in the design language, especially in the middle guy. Like this piece being 2 years old, like his belt buckle is sort of like the Paragon sign flipped upside down.
Yeah.
That whole design language, it's just something that I'm really, you can start to see basically why I gravitated towards this game, because I'm like, yo, this is my game.
Yeah.
And it's just really, it's really fun to sort of crank this stuff out. This is something I did for myself. I like to practice with character designs based on all of my old favorites. I think the guy on the left was, I don't even remember where I got the inspiration for him from. I just wanted something with a lot of rags and a lot of, like a cool, basically giving these guys like a Middle Eastern / African feel, but still making them feel futuristic in the way that Mad Max is futuristic, post-apocalyptic.
Yep.
And then on the right, it's totally different, even though they fit together. That guy was like, I don't know, I was thinking about the times when I used to like the original Ghost in the Shell comics, and they had those bioroids where they were like part, I even took the eyes from Massimune Shiro's work, where they had these like night vision kind of eyes and these claws. I'm literally just like, my brain is this vault of all this old stuff that I saw as a kid, and I just enjoy spitting it back out, because it just like reminds me of my childhood. It reminds me of like my favorite stuff or like favorite places, and I just kind of put it on paper.
Well, that adds sort of like that personal flavor to a lot of the work you do, right? Because like people see stuff in the future, and like the same way you will see like art in Paragon or art that in games you're playing and observe and be like, oh, that's really cool that artist did that. You can kind of think it's really cool to think about what inspired all of that art direction. Like, where did that come from?
Yeah, and I'll definitely steal a bunch of stuff from Paragon. 10 years from now, I'll probably be drawing stuff, and they'll be like, where'd that information come from? This is, so one of the ways that I work, I've done some work for, I think, NetherRealm Studios. This is back when I was working on Mortal Kombat 9, or actually this is Mortal Kombat 10. I had the privilege of creating some original characters for them, which like is so cool because it goes down into the Mortal Kombat history now, right? Like I was literally given a task like, hey, we need like 3 new characters. What do you want to do? So I just took it to the sketchbook raw, like just straight to the sketchbook, not even in Photoshop. And I'm just drawing tons and tons of ideas. And I thought it would be cool to like have this like wasp-like character, like that has these rags all over them. Actually kind of similar to the character today. Like she's got like a duster on and she's kind of, you know, covered up. And then she'll like whoosh, you know, open her hands and then like her wings come out of the back and stuff. This character is Devora from Mortal Kombat X. If any of you guys out there play, you'll probably recognize it. But this is where it started, like right here in the sketchbook, sketching ideas off to the side, sketching possible ways that her tail could, you know, maybe not be traditional, but maybe it comes out of the side of her body and sort of wraps around. This is her here, fully realized 2D.
Right.
But yeah, it was a really cool project to work on. I liked all of the stuff that carried over to the final character. I liked the way that they executed on it. And
awesome
as you can
stuff,
see,
man.
I'm like constantly, you know, I'm into fashion a bit and I'm into, you know, design. I'm trying to add merge the two together, and even like hairstyles and stuff in the upper right hand corner. I try to make sure I explore everything, like every different angle, so that at the end of the day we can have a robust treasure chest sort of to just pull stuff from and put together. That's the final character that we ended up going with, or close to final. I think we made like maybe 2 or 3 more changes. Probably covered up the bust area a little bit because, you know, I was trying to get this idea of like she has an exoskeleton. So like her skin itself is armor, but you know, it's one of the cool things about video games when you make it and then it's like looks a certain way, you're kind of like, maybe we should you know,
tweak this.
Maybe we should tweak this a little bit and pull back on some stuff or whatever. But yeah, huge privilege to work on that.
That's awesome.
It's really cool.
This is some stuff I did, I think about 10 years ago. It's really interesting. Around the time when I had come to Epic to visit 10 years ago, I did this stuff. I was trying to get in on God of War.
Oh, okay.
This one was made for like a tryout piece for them, which I ended up tying and then ultimately losing with a now close friend of mine, Anthony Jones, who's a really, really, really dope artist. But he's like a main contributor to the God of War series, and these were sort of my tryout pieces for that. They asked for just one, but I get so excited. Like I had 2 days to do one, and I think I knocked out 4 of these, plus thumbnails, plus like a finished render.
Man.
That one there was the third one.
Nice. So I'm the guy who walks in with like 2 concepts and like you walk in with like 7 flash drives and you're like, sorry guys, I couldn't help myself.
Yeah, man. There's like I don't know. I get power from that stuff. Like it's just really interesting to sort of dig into and discover and explore these worlds. Like especially now looking back on this, knowing that it's 10 years old and it's just like, wow, I've learned so much since then. But at the same time, it still holds up, and I'm still really excited about this piece. And I think that's something that's cool about doing art, and what draws me to art is that if I was working at a bank, you know, you write a bunch of stuff and then it goes into the paper sphere or whatever it's, you know, wherever it goes. Yeah. But here I can make some stuff and look at it 10 years later and still just have a visual representation of where I was at that point or exactly what I was doing at that point.
Damn,
I know where I was living when I did that. I know, like, I literally remember what I was wearing that day. These are some more characters from the MK universe that I got to work on. I got to add like a bunch of different looks and feels together. And as you can see, I like to really dig in. I even like to say, you know, show the small decals or what went into, like what kind of material it is, whether it's like hard material or whether it's leather. Like I legitimately just enjoy doing it.
That's awesome.
I think that's why I'm like sort of gravitating towards this field, is because it's just fun. These are some other, same characters, just, you know, a lineup of them. I'm really messy. You can see like my straight brush strokes everywhere. But yeah, this is just more art from the Mortal Kombat universe.
I like how he says like casually, "Oh yeah, I'm real messy."
So real quick, because we're almost 12:30. I do want to show the trailer or the motion cinematic one more time. But one of the questions I have for you is, I always ask our artists or effects guys or some of the designers what's most challenging for them.
Yeah.
And for art, I'm always curious because you always get a different answer. What has been the most difficult thing for you to kind of draw consistently over the course of your career?
I am not so much an environment guy. I've learned recently to like sort of be at peace with it. As you probably saw from the trailer, I did the
Letha
when I was doing Letha, which by the way, I don't know if that's what it actually looks like. It probably does, probably doesn't. But I just wanted to like do that. Environments are the most challenging. I gravitate towards character because I can feel characters, and I have like a huge respect for people who do environments, but it's tough for me because like when I'm in my head, when I'm thinking of designing, I'm pulling out not places that I've seen. I don't really have that stuff in there, even though I've seen a ton of places.
Right.
It's just not what I picked. I remember kung fu movies, and I remember like hip hop videos. I remember, you know, whatever, like Victorian stuff. So yeah, that question would definitely be environment stuff, but I'm trying to get better at it.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right. Well, really appreciate you coming on. We're going to show off this piece one more time, and then we're going to head out for the day. We do not have gameplay because we wanted to show you guys this work, and then we're going to take Marco for an adventure. Paragon
I'm
stuff.
hungry.
Jedediah Sparks was the best bounty hunter on Omega, tracking down the fugitives who hid in the waste outside of the city. While not particularly murderous, the majority of his dead or alive bounties were brought in dead, just the nature of the business. He never gave up, and he never failed. When one of his targets escaped to Letha, Jed followed. He tracked his target to the wild region, only to find out the man had been possessed by an ancient spirit. The spirit immediately realized that Jeddah was the better host and tried to possess him. The ensuing battle killed Jeddah's body. But something inside of him fought on. He was too stubborn just to die and go away. And so, the two became a strange hybrid of honorary man and malignant spirit. The being called Revenant went back to hunting down fugitives, but now with a terrifying twist. When he heard the portals to Agora had opened, he knew he must go there.
All right, we are back.
Hello.
Marco.
So this is one thing where like whenever I see art, I'm always like tentative to like give compliments because the artist is always just like, oh no, that's where I wasn't focusing, and then I just look like a fool because I'm just bad at that sort of thing. But I'm so insanely impressed when this happens. I was just like speechless, standing there at the tables watching him show me that cinema.
So you know what's funny about art, and Mooney knows because he's actually seen some of my drawings. But so whenever we want to like put out some type of artwork, or we have an idea for a new concept from a social standpoint, I have to go, hey guy, well, someone has to go, well, Kale, what do you mean? And so like I'll have to like draw on like a little stick figure. So there's this one where we did of what hero do you play in Lane?
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that? And so it was like we had Sereth, and it was like a Chimera, and we had all these characters lined up. And so they were asking me, how do you want that to look? And so like I drew my little stick figures, and then like the lines, and like the emoji underneath, and I was like, hey. So yeah, it's always awesome having out artists and seeing artists in this building, just because it makes you go, man, I can't do that, but I really appreciate
Oh yeah,
your work
no.
and what you can do. So we're gonna take a couple questions from the chat, and then we are going to sign off for the day. We really, really hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, Marco did a bang-up job delivering lore better than any way that I could have.
Oh, yeah, no, definitely.
So I thought that was awesome from someone in the community to be able to put that together. Maybe something we can do more.
I honestly.
Do you guys want to see more of that?
I think it was one of the coolest things to see was like him looking at his like art progression over the years, and then just kind of seeing where he had taken inspiration from at previous points in his career, and like really hearing that drive of like, yeah, I don't know how to do this, and I'm gonna take a bunch of trials and errors to get through it, but use that new technology to inform like the prior stuff and just build upon it. That's really the cool part of it, because you kind of see the art evolve with the artist itself. Like that's always awesome to see, especially like Paragon and in other games. Like just.
All right. So we're looking at chat right now. We're gonna answer a couple questions, see if what we can see. I need to zoom in a little bit on this so I can see these questions. Will we ever get an ARAM game mode like in LOL? Gaben, we're working on new game modes, PvP and PvE. I can't confirm what type of game mode that would be, because we're still in the middle of testing what will work and what won't work. Rank mode soon. That is from Deathbeat94. No ETA on ranked mode. Also something that we told you guys would be coming this year, but nothing I can confirm as of right now. I said more Marco. What does Marco eat? I would want to know.
Well, we're gonna find out.
Yeah, we'll find out.
We'll figure that out for you guys and get back to you.
We got some more questions there about that. Can we see his Challenger skin? We showed off the Master skin. We showed off Ravenquill.
Do we show off Jawan's favorite Challenger skin?
No, I'm not going to show that.
Right,
I'm going to save some of the suspense.
Yeah, discovery. Yeah. There's a little bit of delight in discovery.
I've already shown the Master skin. Yeah. I mean, my favorite skin in the game so far is that Master skin. Update on voice lines. That's from Red Panda Gamer 73. We are working on them. It's a long process. We have to get Loke for all of the languages that the game currently supports. We have to finish all the characters, and meanwhile, while we're finishing them, we have a new hero out every 3 weeks. So it's like, we just got to catch up. But yes, we're working on it. I don't have a date for you guys, but I promise you, it is something that we know you guys care about a lot. Can you give me some love? Hey, what's up, Wheezy? Number 9. I see you.
I think I actually saw a question about like Iggy rework question mark. We actually talked about that in our community corner. You should check out the community corner.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
This past Friday
we posted that.
We talked about the Iggy rework.
Yeah.
Don't have a date. They are testing some stuff, but we did mention it. In the frame of reference in which we mentioned it was explaining why Iggy's kit needs a rework.
Yeah, some of these heroes and the necessities behind them.
So it's pretty cool. Chris. Sorry, we got Chris Atlas off screen. Marco is with Kevin landing. All right. Got one more question. I'm looking for a really, really good one. Let's see. Do you see anything popping out at you?
Why do I like steel so much? I don't know. Dude's a sav. Like, what do you want me to say?
Dude's a sav. That's a classic Mooney line. And you got your master skin with him.
Yeah, no. I got it. You guys saw that. It's on as a picture. There's proof now.
There's proof that he has a master skin now.
Yeah, it's proof now.
Yes. Do we have
evidence?
That?
Yeah. Let's can we get that up on the screen?
His master skin.
So I got my master skin. Everybody can be proud of me now.
I did this for him.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, so like it was like I tried. I went like Kale met me halfway.
Yes.
I was like meet me halfway, Kale, and he met me halfway, and that's where we're at.
I got Mooney his master skin.
Yeah. So I think we can just like table that.
Me and Clint
now.
worked hard on this.
Yeah.
New cards, Arctic. So This is a good question.
Yes.
We are currently testing the new card system. There is no date. We're like in the beginning stages of literally testing some of the design reworks and changes to the card system. More importantly, we are continuing to add reworked cards to the existing card system as an indicator for the general direction that we're going. So the next card reworks that you guys will see that will include a couple of new things will be in V40, which is when we'll have this vetted and tested. So hopefully you guys will really enjoy the V40 update with some of the new cards that are coming in and some of the changes to those cards as we continue to iterate on the card rework that we're working on. Just got out of like the design phase, and now we're transitioning into getting the beginning touches of it into the system. It has to go through programming, lots more programming stuff, more design flesh out, but we're starting to test it.
Yep.
Coming. But yeah, we have some more stuff coming soon. V40 is going to be a huge update. Mentioned it at the beginning of the stream. But right now, it's all about Revenant. Revenant will be with us tomorrow. It's not even 24 hours. You guys will get to play Revenant. The update should go live at around 3:30 a.m. in the morning tomorrow morning. And it was a fun stream today. Got that Revenant lore.
Does everybody genuinely seem to enjoy working on Revenant and like all of that's like in the process? And when you see that, like people going out of their way to add those little areas of flair or just like doing the extra research and the pizzazz, like to adding it to the hero and the people finding those little things in game, like Marco talking about doing those flyovers, like that's the reason they do it, and it's always awesome to see that. It just blows my mind.
Definitely hope you guys enjoyed today's stream. If you did, please make sure to follow the Twitch channel so you guys can see us go live. We'll have some more streams later this week. We have a community stream on Wednesday. All this week we will be posting about Revenant. Hopefully we'll have some guides out from the community. We will have out some more sweet concept art for you guys to take a look at. Maybe we'll get to post that Ravenquill skin. I think we can take that concept and post it out on
a nice skin.
Friday as well. But hope you guys really enjoyed it today, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.
Jedediah Sparks was the best bounty hunter on Omega, tracking down the fugitives who hid in the waste outside of the city. While not particularly murderous, the majority of his dead or alive bounties were brought in dead, just the nature of the business. He never gave up, and he never failed. When one of his targets escaped to Letha, Jed followed. He tracked his target to the wild region, only to find out the man had been possessed by an ancient spirit. The spirit immediately realized that Jeddah was the better host and tried to possess him. The ensuing battle killed Jeddah's body. But something inside of him fought on. He was too stubborn just to die and go away. And so, the two became a strange hybrid of honorary man and malignant spirit. The being called Revenant went back to hunting down fugitives, but now with a terrifying twist. When he heard the portals to Agora had opened, he knew he must